So the number 8 is my favorite design. It just is. I've made a lot of covers over the years, and every time I pick that one up, it feels settled, balanced, like nothing's fighting anything. But it's not exactly small. And lately, I've wanted something I can carry everywhere without thinking about it, and something that just slips into my bag. Because I decided I need to take my Zibaldone with me everywhere, which sounds dramatic. It's not. It just means a messy book, quotes, scriptures, thoughts, random ideas, things I don't want to lose. And I want that book with me. So naturally, instead of just grabbing a smaller notebook, I'm redesigning my favorite, which sounds simple. It is not simple. You can't just shrink something and expect it to behave the same way. Scale is rude. When you make something smaller, the proportions change. The spine changes, the way the insert stack changes, the pockets start competing for space. And if you don't solve that before you cut leather, you will solve it after. And that's expensive. So I start with chipboard. Yes, glamorous. But this is the safest place to make mistakes because leather is not forgiving. Once you cut it, that's it. Chipboard, though, Chipboard will let you argue with it. So I measure everything again. I reduce the weight, and then I look at the width. And then I realize the spine can't stay the same proportionally because bulk stacks differently in a smaller footprint. So I adjust that. And then I tape and glue it all together, and immediately something feels off. Not just bad, but off. And that's the kind of thing that will bother you forever if you ignore it. So I shave 1/8 of an inch and then I rebuild it. And then I open it, close it, pretend to use it. And if you're wondering what I'm looking for, it's not does it look cute? I'm looking for resistance. Does it fight me when I open it? Does the spine collapse? Do the pockets feel cramped? Does it want to bow forward? Because leather will soften over time, and if something already feels tight in cardboard, leather will exaggerate that later. Most products are designed for lunch day. They look amazing on day one. Crisp, structured, perfect edges, but nobody asks what they will look like in 5 years. I do, because year 5 is when you actually know if something was well designed. So I will build 2 versions. Better. Version 3, closer. You'll notice I'm not dramatically changing things. I'm adjusting tiny measurements. 1/8 of an inch matters. A slightly deeper pocket matters. A slightly wider spine matters. Bulk is cumulative. Thread adds thickness. Leather adds thickness. Edge finishing adds rigidity. If I ignore that here, the final product feels stiff or worse, awkward. And awkward is subtle. You don't always know why something feels wrong. You just stop reaching for it. I don't want that. I want this number 8, this smaller number 8, to feel intentional, not reduced and not compromised. Compact but balanced. So I keep adjusting. And there's this moment when I open it and it just behaves. It doesn't fight me. It doesn't snag. It doesn't bow. It feels right. And that's the click I'm waiting for. That's when I know I can cut the leather. Because by the time I cut leather, I want that argument to be over. I don't want to be hoping it works. I want to know it works. And when you see the finished piece at the end, it's going to look obvious. Like, of course, that's what it should be. But that only happens because this stage exists. This ugly, taped, slightly embarrassing stage. When people say, you get what you pay for, this is the part of what you're paying for. Not just leather, iteration, time, restraint. The decision to slow down instead of rushing to production. I don't design for applause. I design for the woman who's going to overstuff this thing. I design for the woman who bends it backwards while journaling. I design for real life, and real life applies pressure. So I test for pressure here in cardboard. If it survives this stage, it deserves leather. And once I cut the leather and stitch it together, all of this disappears. It just feels easy, and that's the goal. Not impressive, not dramatic, easy. Because 5 years from now, when the Zibble Done is thick with pages and notes, ink stains, and history, I don't want it to feel like I compromised anything. I want it to feel like it was always meant to be this size. That's why I start here with something cheap. So the final thing feels inevitable.